Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome to Crusader Kings III, as we're going to be starting a new series today with the Royal Court expansion. So this DLC does come out on Tuesday, thus we are playing about a day early, and it's going to be $29.99 on Steam. I did want to mention early on here that this will not be a roleplay series. I know that style has come to be associated with my CK content. All of our CK3 campaigns have been roleplay. Our last two series with CK2 were also with the roleplay style. However, we're not going to be doing it with this one, and that's for a couple reasons. First of all, I've been saying for a while now that we're going to do a non-roleplay series, and we still haven't. I'm also still learning many of the new mechanics that have come in this patch and expansion, so this series will be a little bit more mechanical focused than those roleplay series often are. And lastly, sometimes in the comment section, when people disagree with me on certain roleplay decisions I make, it can get quite, let's say, quite passionate in the comments with their disagreement. There often is a lot of arguing in those roleplay series, arguing with other viewers, arguing with me. So I think one of the nice parts of not doing a roleplay series is hopefully there won't be as much bickering in the comments, as much arguing as there sometimes is over certain decisions that are made. But that does not mean that we won't do any roleplay series ever again. I'm sure we'll do another roleplay campaign, and I do know that this expansion, many of the features, would fit really well with the roleplay, so I think that's something we'll do in the future. We just won't be doing it with this one. So let's go ahead and jump on into the game. I already know who we're going to be playing as. I did do one test playthrough. Didn't get to play quite as much as I'd like because of some issues we've been having here in the house. Hot water heater broke and had some other problems with it, so I didn't get to play quite as much as I would like, but I did play here as the King of Croatia, King Kresimir. I think that's how you pronounce that. As many of you guys know, pronunciation is not one of my strengths, so I'm sure I will mispronounce several things, and if I do, just correct me down in the comments below. Well, that was the family that you saw on the main menu, is the family I was playing with here in Croatia. But in this campaign, we're going to be playing as the Kingdom of Poland, specifically the Piast Dynasty, King Bolesław II, the Bold, also known as the Generous. And let's just go ahead and jump into it, though I think we do want to check the game rules. Have it set up for a Let's Play, which I believe nothing's been changed here from default, with the exception of the matrilineal marriages. I decided to do the female-dominated and equal one, where they only do the matrilineal marriages if part of a female-dominated or equal realm. I want to see if this makes it more likely that the AI will do the patrilineal marriages as a female character. I think it's strange how all the female characters always want to do the matrilineal marriages, and it can be sometimes difficult to arrange a marriage with a female ruler that isn't matrilineal. And it's kind of strange to me because the entire purpose of the matrilineal marriages, why they're put into the CK series, was to make sure that once you became a female character, it wasn't the end of the game for you, which is what often happened. You'd play as a female character, and then your children would always be of your husband's dynasty, and therefore you weren't able to continue the game because your heir would be from a different dynasty and you'd lose. And so they added the matrilineal marriages so that that wouldn't happen. But it doesn't really make any sense for the AI to do that, because the game's not going to end for the AI if another dynasty takes over. So we'll see if this will have any effect on the AI behavior. I don't think anything else has been changed. Might be a couple little adjustments here, but I believe everything's set to the default settings here. Let's go ahead and make sure those are applied, and go ahead and jump on into the game. Now, I know that some viewers are going to be concerned with this not being a roleplay series, that there's going to be too much war, that we're going to constantly be at war, which even with the roleplay series, we are often at war. But I'm going to try and reduce the amount, not go on conquering sprees. I'm not going to try and create this big old massive empire. We will still kind of play like it's a roleplay in a sense. We're not going to get crazy with it. We just won't base every action we do off of our character traits as we do with those roleplay series. But we won't go too crazy with the conflicts. We'll obviously have a lot of war. These series always do. But I'll try and make it so that it's not like every episode is nothing but war, because that can sometimes happen in CK3 if you're really trying to build a big old massive empire. I figured there might be some viewers that would be concerned about that. So before we jump on into it, let's go and take a look at our starting situation. Our beginning character has some fantastic traits, very good skills, as you can see here, and we are diligent, wrathful, generous, and brave. We also have the education trait skilled tactician and the commander trait military engineer. And we have a physical trait strong, so hopefully we can pass that trait down to our children, as we currently do not have any kids. We are married. Our wife is 19 years old. She's humble, vengeful, zealous. She's a misguided warrior and has the Forder commander trait. And yeah, this is just a fantastic character to be starting with here, but that's not the only reason why I picked him, of course. We've started as some pretty cruddy characters in the past, but I picked him because I really like taking characters that maybe didn't do so well historically, even if they have good traits and stats and stuff. So the goal is to help him do better than he did historically, and hopefully not succumb to the same issues that he did historically. So that's our current character. Again, no children as of right now. Here is the lands that we directly manage. So our domain is these 4 counties here, which 3 of them are in Upper Silesia, which is a problem, as if we take a look at one of our most powerful vassals here, he absolutely hates us, and that's because he has 2 duchies. He has the Duchy of Lower Silesia, which is here, but then he also has the one for Upper Silesia, and none of those counties are actually under his control, despite the fact that he controls the duchy title. And I think 3 of these? Yeah, 3 of these are in that duchy. So we're not going to grant those to him, and thus he's going to hate us no matter what. We could give him control of these, put these counts underneath him, but even that would not fix the issue. So more than likely, we're going to have to fight this guy. I do expect that he's going to be a problem. As of right now, he's our steward, but yeah, I think he's going to be an issue for us. Other powerful vassals, I think the next most powerful is our brother here, and he is a duke with 4 counties underneath him. All of this is under his control. So our brother here is probably the second most powerful of our vassals. However, he shouldn't be too much of an issue, considering the fact that he's craven and he's content. He's also infirm, which means he very well might die rather young. And if he does, and he doesn't get married or have any kids, then we will gain all of his titles. So the one thing we might want to do is kind of help his death along, actually, because that would greatly increase our own powers, get us up to the 8 maximum domains that we can have, because he does control these 4 counties here. So that might be the first thing we want to do, is get rid of our brother here, which is something that if we were doing a roleplay, I don't think would be fitting. Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to do that if we were doing a roleplay. So I think we might try and kill our brother. I mean, if we're wanting to do better than our character historically did, then that would be one of the key things we need to do here, because what happened to our character historically, you'll notice we've got quite a few powerful vassals. I mean, even the counts all have 2 counties for the most part. We got a prince bishop here. He's got 2 counties. And then, we have our brother here, and then we have this Duke of Silesia here, who's hates us and is very powerful. And what happened historically was a rebellion by the nobles. He ended up getting pushed off his throne by the nobles, ended up in exile here in Hungary, and his brother was put on the throne instead. And he would rule quite a few years, a couple decades, I think, after our current character here died, which he didn't last that long after he was removed from the throne. I think only a couple years. And that'll happen to our character historically when he was in his 30s. I think it's about 12, 13 years from now, where we're at starting the game, that he was pushed off his throne, and then he died just a couple years later when he was only about 40 years old. So we definitely want a better ending than what happened to our character historically, so I think removing our brother is the key to that, because I expect we'll likely face some factions, and one key faction could be to put our brother on the throne instead. So let's just do a murder scheme here, though it doesn't look like we have a very good chance to do it. One of our character's weakest skills here is his intrigue. In fact, he's pretty good at everything, or at least average at everything. Very good stewardship, good marshal, with a really, really low intrigue. And you see the predicted agents is 0. So I don't think we're going to be able to do this just yet. We just have too low of odds, largely due to that low intrigue. So we might want to go ahead and take a look at our council real quick and see if we can do anything about that. Now, of course, we could change over to the support schemes. That'd give us a little boost, but I don't think it'd be enough. I think the better option would be to instead... Oh, well, he's actually our spy master. I was going to have him find secrets here, he doesn't have very good intrigue. We got him there simply because he's a powerful vassal, and there's really nothing that he's currently good at. Alright, so that's kind of a shame here. Alright, well, let's go and take a look at all of our council. We'll start with our wife here. She's doing the assist ruler. That's giving us a total of 5 points. Could instead, because I guess this is her highest stat, is her martial. So could instead have her give us 4 points of martial. Yeah, I think we'll just stay with the assist ruler and get the 5 points, because we're actually pretty good at martial already. With our chancellor, he's decent. Yeah, not too bad at all. As far as other traits he has, there's really nothing else he could do well. Our steward, yeah, that's his best stat. Yeah, usually they do a good job with assigning these, but you'll notice that there are some cruddier characters, like our marshal here would probably be better as the spy master, and then we can use him to spy on our brother. And then our brother, he's really not good at anything, but I'm not too worried about him either. He's not a very ambitious guy. He's a coward, so he'll probably be terrified of us, especially if we're able to get any dread. So I'm not too worried about him, so I think we're just going to replace him with this character here. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. He's got some decent intrigue. It's not the worst. So let's go and swap him out, and then we'll see if we can't get a better marshal here. Is there anybody here that has decent martial? He's okay. He's not the worst. So if we wanted to get like a really good steward for the money, then we could do that as well. Probably won't want to do him. We don't want to irritate him if we need to fire him from that position. Could just do this count here. He's not too shabby. Let's see what we have for marshals. See if there's anybody really good here. We got a knight with a 17 rating. We got another vassal down here with 12. This is 16, and he's actually a count. So I could see putting him in that position instead. I think that's what we'll do. Let's go ahead and point him here. And of course that's going to piss off our brother quite a bit. But that's okay, because we're expecting to have issues with him anyways. And with him being content, he might not even as angry as he is, he might not do anything about it. Let's go in and get ourselves a lifestyle selected, which we're going to do. I think we're going to do the chivalry focus, get that prowess, get a bit of advantage as well. And we're currently going down the overseer. Okay. This is always random, so every time you load up with a character, it's going to be different. The first time I looked at it, he actually was going down to gallant, and I would have preferred to go down that route. Honestly, I think it would have fit his character more. We can switch over to start doing these ones. There's no reason why we have to keep going down this. As of right now, what we're getting is a plus 15 to natural dread, increased control growth, increased control and county progress gain, and then a bonus to dread gain, the siege progress against revolts, and finally the faction military power threshold for vassals is plus 20. So hopefully it'll take longer for the factions to get strong enough to actually do a rebellion. So this is one of the new features, holding a court. We'll take a look at our royal court here in a minute. Let's see what other things we need to be made aware of. So we currently have 2 vassals that don't have a slot. Okay, so I didn't think about that we actually have a guy over here. And he would be fairly decent at a couple of these jobs here. So I can see appointing him as well, but then we'd have to remove somebody. So I think that we're just going to leave it as is. He'll just have to be unhappy. And then we have, of course, our brother, who we know about already. This is something we also already know about. We're not going to give him any of those titles. Now, we do have several alliances that we can get here, which I think we will take advantage of. Now, these say that they're of Ruthenia, but they're actually not of this Ruthenia. This is a different character. I believe it's actually his siblings here, if I'm not mistaken. This is one of them. So he's over here, and we can arrange an alliance with him. We can also arrange an alliance with our brother. We probably should do that. That way we don't have to worry about him, rebelling against us. Which, again, he's a spineless lackey, so I don't think that's likely. But yeah, let's go and ally with him. And then these 2 characters, just show where they're at here. So we got him, he is over here. And then we have him, he is over here. So those are the 2 potential alliances. And what you'll notice is that both of them border Ruthenia. So I'm wondering if we'll be able to get them to help us there. Now they are related to the ruler of Ruthenia, so they might already be allied to him or start an alliance with him. You can see they don't have any allies right now, but they might open up an alliance against or with him, and thus we might not be able to get their assistance in this war. But if we could, then this would be a good first conflict here. Once we've locked down our domestic issues, which I think should probably be our priority. But yeah, I think we probably can already start a war here, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look here. So we can do the Holy Wars, but as of right now, we can only do for the county because we do not have a high enough level of devotion. So I think we should just wait until we get the Faithful. Hopefully that shouldn't take too long, and then we can do Holy Wars for the Duchies. So there's a couple of those options here. There's that one. There's also one over here, and one over here in Prussia. And then we have the claims in Ruthenia. So I believe there's 2 counties that we can claim here. And so I think that's what our first war would be for, is one of those counties. But again, we're going to wait just a little bit. We're also going to want to build up our army a bit, because right now we have numbers that I think are too similar to his. So we want to build up our numbers a little bit and then hope that we'll be able to get some assistance from those alliances. All right, so let's just go ahead and look through all of our screens here, the character screen. We are going to go ahead and change up to limited authority immediately here. And that'll be helpful for if we, maybe want to revoke some of these titles at some point. Then that would be an option for us. So we moved over to the limited authority. I think that's the only thing we needed to look at in here. For the military, we're starting out with 3 men-at-arms. We have the armored footmen. We have the Koni, which these are the unique light cavalry that you'll find in many areas. I know Poland has access to that, obviously. I believe the Hungarians do as well. And when I was playing as Croatia, I also had access to the Koni. And their main benefit compared to the regular light cavalry is that they have very, very high pursuit. So they get a lot of kills once you force an enemy to rout. I want to say they might do more damage, but less screen. We can take a look rather than have me guessing over here. Yeah, they do have 3+ damage there. The defense is the same. You notice that the pursuit is double, so way higher, and then the screen is a bit lower. I don't think they have any differences when it comes to their terrain, though. So we have the Koni, and then we have some siege weapons here. So I think the first thing for us to do here with this bit of money we got is to go ahead and create a men-at-arms. I think getting something to counter the Koni, because almost everybody uses those around here, from what I noticed, is to go ahead and get the pikemen, so you can counter those. So we're going to create a pikeman men-at-arms, and then from here on out, we'll just work on building these up to larger sizes as we get the money for that. So let's go and take a look at our council. I know we did change up our appointments here, but we did not take a look at what jobs we want them to do. I think we'll go ahead and change the Chancellor over to Domestic Affairs, try and help get that opinion up, because we've got to get our realm stable before we start doing wars and such. I don't know if we can do any promote culture. Looks like that's the only place, so we don't need to do that. So we'll probably just go ahead and have them do the increased development here in our capital. I just want to take a look and see what our development currently is. It's 12. So yeah, we definitely want to get that a little bit higher. And that'll allow us to get a nice little bonus for building construction time as well. With the Marshal, you'll notice there's additional buttons, by the way. This comes with that the changes to the DLC and the Royal Court, which again, we'll look at that in a little bit. We're going to do the Organized Army here. And then with the Spy Master, we already know what we're going to do with him. We're going to have him find secrets in our brother's land, which I think is right there. Let's have him find secrets here and see if we can't find some secrets of people in his court to get him to work with us. Now, we might have a much better chance to assassinate him now that he's not... it doesn't matter, still 11%. But yeah, now that he's not our Spy Master, that ends up not being the case. So this is one of the first things we're going to be looking at here when it comes to the new features of this expansion and patch, and that is all the court positions. So it kind of reminds me of the CK2 screen where they had all the minor titles, but this one is obviously much better. It's just much clearer, and it seems like each one of the actual jobs here does more than those minor titles did. We're really it only kind of increased the prestige for that character, maybe give them a little bit of income, and most importantly, increase their opinion of you. That was kind of the main point of the minor titles, is to get opinion increases. With this one, you notice there's a lot more effects here. There's all kinds of cool stuff. One of my favorite here, I mean, court jester's fun as well. They even have a little outfit that they'll wear if they're a court jester. But one of my favorite here is probably the Bodyguard. It's really cool having like a big old giant or something. In my Croatian campaign I'm playing, I have a giant as my bodyguard, and it's cool because they're in the Royal Court, where you can see their 3D character model, you know, standing at your side. And so I got this big old monster giant next to me. So it's just a really cool position here to have, and you can have multiple bodyguards. I guess this is one for each side. And then you also have a personal champion, and they'll take your place in like duels and such. So that's interesting for maybe somebody who doesn't have very good prowess. Obviously our character is very good at dueling, so it won't be a problem. Executioner is another interesting one, because this one you can't just appoint somebody to. You appoint somebody who you have locked in your dungeon. So it's kind of like a punishment. You forgive all their crimes, and then they're an executioner. But yeah, a lot of different positions here. I really like this mechanic. All right, so I believe that's everything. Let's finally head on into the Royal Court. This is the big feature of this expansion, where you can see all the 3D character models of the different characters that are in your court. You know, you have your knights who act as your guards up here. If you have a bodyguard, then they would be here. You can see yourself and your wife over here. So there's actually a lot of stuff for us to do here in the court, and we're going to start with decorating. These different things that you have, they have different benefits. This one's a masterwork, so you see it gives a lot more prestige per month, about double the renown. Also going to increase opinion by a bit more. So we're going to go ahead and place this one here. And then I know this will be uneven and look strange, because we don't have one for the other side. We only have these two. That's okay. We're going to put both of them in there, so we can get as much prestige and renown and opinion boost as possible. I don't think we have anything for here. We actually do. Okay, we have the Veil of Veronica, an illustrious pedestal item. So this increases our piety. It gives increased domain taxes if that province is of our same faith, and we'll get more court grandeur. So let's go ahead and put that. Let's see where we want to put it, on the left here or the right. We'll put it, well, I think the fireplace would look nice with that. All right, excellent. That'll give us some nice bonuses there. And so now we can take a look at our court grandeur, and you can see that it is, the baseline has now gone up to 42. Now currently it's sitting at 19, so since it's well below the baseline, it will slowly increase up. This is where it's at now. This is where it'll increase to, and these are the different levels, and each level grants you different benefits, and those benefits you get are controlled by your court type. And final thing to mention here on this bar is that this is your expectations. This is based off of your title. We're a king, so it's at level 2 here. And if you go below the expectations, you get a penalty. And the higher you go above the expectations, then you get an increase to opinion boost for being so far above. And this is largely based off of these amenities down here. We currently are on level 3 for our fashion, so decent fashion. That's granting those benefits there. You can always increase it up to stylish fashion. We're sitting in at the level 3 for the food as well. Decent food here. This will impact your feast, and also, from my understanding, if you go too high, it does result in your court, the characters of your court, and maybe even yourself, gaining weight. Then you have the lodgings. We're only on level 2 over here. Now these do all cost the maintenance, so you can't just tick them all the way up to the top, because they'll get quite expensive if you do. Gotta make sure you have the money to pay for that. And some of these actually have some negatives associated with them as well. The one that comes to mind here is the servant one, where we're on level 2. And you'll notice that any people in our court, any of the guests, their personal scheme power and hostile scheme power, or hostile scheme resistance, is increased based on the number of servants you have. So that could technically be a negative in some ways for you. It could be a positive. But yeah, they do have different bonuses here. And then you have your court type. Which one you can get is based on your culture's ethos. We'll take a look at our culture here in a little bit. These are the two options that we have available: diplomatic court or scholarly court, which we can change with 500 prestige that we don't have. That's okay, because we actually want to keep the diplomatic court. So these are the benefits we're getting at level 1. We get an increased offer vassalage acceptance that is scaled by Grandeur. Level 4, tyranny gain reduction here. Level 7 and level 10 here. The level 10s are typically the best ones. We're still pretty far from getting either of these. But the max personal schemes +1, that's really nice to have. The level 10 ones seem to be pretty powerful. So you definitely want to get your court as grand as possible. Look at who's this guy over here. This is our brother. Look at how angry he is. Looking like he's quite mad, or maybe he's just trying to look intimidating. I don't know. He is a craven, so this is his best attempt at looking intimidating. So this is our court language. You kind of look at this here on the language screen, and how many high-level courts, grand courts, this language is used in will control how much grandeur you get from using that language in your court. We're currently using High German. We could always switch over to our country's native language here, but you'll notice that if we did that, we get a lot less grandeur. So we don't want to switch that out right now. We'll just keep it at High German for those benefits. And I think that's all we have to do here outside of holding court, which we're going to wait to do, because there's one more thing I want to take a look at. We haven't looked at the culture. So this is the Polish culture, and there's a lot to cultures now, kind of remind of the religion system. So this is your ethos, and as we've seen, it does control what type of court you can have, but it also gives these benefits to all characters of that culture. So with the courtly culture, we have increase in monthly prestige, title creations are cheaper, house opinion is increased by 5, and we get a grandeur bonus as well. I was playing as Croatia. We were communal. Those are the benefits that we were getting there. It's quite different benefits. This is our heritage, how the genders are treated. You got your language here, and then you have your aesthetics as well. So that's for your fashion, coat of arms, architecture, all that good stuff. And then you have your traditions, which these are the important things here that are going to give you different benefits and negatives. And these are the ones that are easiest to kind of change as well by reforming and adding new ones, which can get quite expensive. You can also replace these, I believe. But yeah, add in a new one. As you can see, it can be thousands of prestige to add a new one. So it's not something you're going to do very often. But our current ones, we have the Koni Raids, which that allows us to recruit those Koni as men-at-arms, but also gives us a bunch of benefits. Retreat losses is reduced, friendly fatal casualties are reduced, but we also lose some advantage. Our light cav does more damage, better at screen. Same thing with our skirmishers, but our siege weapons are less effective, unfortunately. Here you can see that we're very xenophilic, means that we're getting an increase to cultural acceptance. Then different culture opinion is increased, and we get no negative opinion of other cultures. So that's going to be pretty helpful. We start conquering more German territory or territory over here in the east, the Russians. And then we're also staunch traditionalists. The stubborn trait is more common. Converting to local culture decision cost is increased greatly. Creating a hybrid culture requires 100% more cultural acceptance. So all those are kind of hard. These are mostly penalties here, honestly. But in controlled territory, you're going to get a defender advantage bonus. You're going to get control growth increased, but you do have cultural fascination progress reduced. So sometimes these are benefits, sometimes they're negatives, sometimes they're a little bit of both. But yeah, let's go ahead and hold court. This is kind of one of the big features here. You can do this every 5 years, and then you'll get 3 petitioners, and I'm really liking this so far. These petitions are really cool. But let's go ahead and read this. Sitting on my throne, I gesture for my guards to open the doors to the hall. A stream of people file in, some lined up in front of me, or in front of my throne, while others move out of the way so they can simply observe the proceedings. After several moments, all movement in the chamber has ceased. All faces turn towards mine expectantly. In front of me, I count 3 petitioners lined up in an orderly row, waiting for me to call on them. I don't know if it's always 3 petitioners. That's all I've seen so far, though. I don't know if it's based on your rank, so maybe like an emperor might have more. But so far, I've just seen the 3 petitions for every time you hold court. So our first one is an unconventional preacher. And again, you see the 3D models here. So these are the 3 groups of people that want to see us. So the ones down on their knees here, that's the ones pertaining to this event, as you can see here. And then this is who's coming to see us next, which is our brother. Can't see how that's going to be a good thing. And then we have the Archbishop over here. And this woman here, a treacherous maniac. So that'll be our third one. My liege, Count Vakwav. I'm probably going to butcher the Polish names, guys, so I do apologize ahead of time here. His voice is severe. I request that we launch an investigation about an infamous preacher in Krakow. You see, this preacher is, well, that she's a woman. This is not in accordance with our faith. Count Mikaw interjects his speech by raising his hand and taking a step forward. So that would be this character here. He says, my liege, is that this guy's correct here in his assessment. That is the preacher's only flaw. Everything she teaches is in accordance with our faith. Okay, so we have to decide what we're going to do here. A lot of times you have quite a few options available, which I really like. So our first one here is we need more people to spread the word of God, in which case we'll get the province modifier here that's going to decrease control but increase popular opinion and development growth. Okay, and all this is in our capital, by the way. And we're going to irritate one count while making the other one happy, because they throw this false preacher into jail, and thus we'll lock her up. We will lose 30 opinion with her, and it'll be the opposite here, who we please and irritate. We can instead say, I wish to employ this preacher as my high almoner, and this is going to cost 100 piety. We'll appoint her to that position, and we'll lose some opinion with that count. Or we can say, if she can teach peasants, then she would make a good court tutor. So essentially, it's just whether or not we want to hire her. Let's just take a look at this character. Oops. Might need to open this one up and then click on her. There we go. She does have a fantastic learning trait here. She's a mastermind philosopher. I mean, yeah, she would be really good for some of these positions, but I don't know that I actually want to hire her. I can see doing the court tutor, I guess. I'll have to use our piety for that. Now, the thing with those positions, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, is that they also require you to pay them. And so you can really cut into your funding if you try and appoint a bunch of people to those positions. I don't think we want to get a high almoner right now. That would just help us get more piety. Just going to hover over this to see exactly what it does. You know, it does help with the court grandeur as well. Make our grander court here. But I think it would be better to have a court tutor. Those are the benefits that provides. And yeah, I can see that being very helpful for us. Now, you'll see the salary there, 0.68. So this one is much cheaper. It's pretty expensive, but I think it would be useful since we haven't really had any kids yet. And getting the benefits of the court tutor would be incredibly helpful. So I think we're going to do that. I know this is going to piss off the count. He'll make it. He'll live through it. So let's go and do that option. So the next event, this is with our brother. My brother strides forward, clearly eager to hear my response to his petition. He says, Piast is among the greatest houses of Poland, and thus his counsel should always be heard by the king. Excluding your most qualified and prominent followers only serves to sow division and mistrust. So essentially, I'm going to guess that he wants to be, guaranteed a position on the council. So this would change up his feudal contract. And you'll see a lot of that from your vassals. They'll often come in here and try and get you to make an adjustment to their feudal contract. Well, normally I'd be okay with that because he's at such a high ranking. I mean, he's our second most powerful lord in our lands, so I can definitely see wanting to give him this benefit because we probably want to keep him on the council anyway. But with him, I don't think we're going to do that because we're not putting him on the council. So we already know we're not going to comply with this, but we'll go and take a look at the options. So doing this one, we get the nice 20 opinion for him being grateful, and then we'll get a weak hook on him. What I really like, though, is this option where you can actually get a county if he agrees with it. Then you give him what he wants, and you get a full county, which is much better than anything you could get in the feudal contracts. You know, if you're trying to give him council rights guaranteed, and then you can get more money or more levies or something. But yeah, I'd much rather get a full county. So that would be the option to probably go with. We'd have a 69% chance of success. We could also do this one here, which means you are forcing the partition, on the feudal contract. Or we could say in exchange for greater commitments, of course, and that'll increase his feudal levies to us. You could do that without having to go through this. Or we could say, is it not enough to be a duke? In which case he'll be disappointed. And we'll actually gain stress because we're a generous character. So if we were role-playing, we would not be able to go with this option. But that's the one we're going to go with because we don't want him on our council right now. And we don't want that title always having the right to be on the council, although it might not matter, I suppose, if if it falls into our hands. The last petition here is a holy tomb. The peasant in front of me seems about to explode with excitement. My lord, the miracles, the holiness we have been blessed. Her enthusiastic ramblings are confusing, but I finally get the gist of it. She wants me to sponsor the cult of a local saint who has recently died. This is him here. I don't know if that's Muabrat, something like that. He was a miracle maker in life, known for confessing all his sins to the crowds and preaching to the birds. His tomb is attracting devoted visitors from all over the realm. So we can say His Holiness will get the veneration he deserves, and that'll become a temple holding there. Okay, so I'm guessing this is an empty holding. We'll take a look before we make any choices here. But if we did it, we'd get 250 piety and also increase the control, which is probably not a problem in that location. We can instead say, I shall eradicate this blasphemous nonsense right away. We'd get dread, we'd lose piety, and the control in that county would be reduced. Or I could say, I don't care about peasant superstitions, and that would reduce the control. So this county, let's just take a look at it here. Oops. I don't know if it'll let me click on it from here. Looks like that's a no. So we'll just have to take a look at the name. And here we go. Threw us right into it. Excellent. You can always leave the court and go right back in without any issues. So this is the county here. And I'm guessing she's wanting to construct the temple in one of these empty holdings here. I don't really see any reason not to do this, honestly. It's not even one of our own locations. And even if it was, I could still see doing it because you're getting something built there, which is typically kind of expensive. And you're getting something built there without having to pay anything. They're paying for it. And in fact, you're getting a good little chunk of piety from it. So yeah, I can see doing this one. We'll make it into a temple holding, and we'll get 250 piety. All right, so that's the conclusion. The ceremonial formality of the proceedings has dropped away entirely, with the hum and bustle of normal courtly life taking its place. So that's the whole court. You can do it every 5 years. We won't be able to do it again until 1071. And there's all types of petitions and events that you'll see there. It's a pretty interesting mechanic. Probably one of the better mechanics here in the patch and expansion. All right, so I think we're finally ready to let this play. We can take a look and see exactly where that was added. It's right here. So here's the temple holding. That was just added. Yeah, we got it for nothing. So not bad. It wasn't even on our lands either. All right, so we were able to get these alliances. Not surprising. And now I'm just curious if we would be able to get any assistance if we attacked Ruthenia, because again, he does have very similar numbers to us here. This is another event that you're going to see quite often. This is your vassals wanting to pay homage to you. I haven't played as a vassal yet, but I do believe the developer diaries mention this. This is something you can do with the Royal Court if you don't have your own, although I assume if you're a king and you're under an emperor, then you'd be able to do it too. So you can always tell them no, and just send them away, and that is considered tyrannical doing so. You get an opinion penalty with them, lose some prestige, or you can do it here, and there's different things they can grant you when they pay homage to you. So this is the event for him, and man, we are looking mighty here. Look at this gorgeous cape we've got. Our big old broad chest. I mean, that's what a king looks like right there. So I wait patiently on my throne for the arrival of the Duke, who is soon announced and ushered before me. He kneels in deference, offering nothing but his oath to faithfully serve as a vassal of the kingdom. Well, we're going to hold him to that oath, because I do expect we're going to have some issues with this guy. He does not like us. At last I bid the Duke arise, confirming my satisfaction, and his right says Landsey rules in my stead. So this is going to get us 75 prestige. We'll get more court grandeur, and then we're also going to get... Oh, he got 75 prestige. We get that as well. And then our dynasty is going to get more renown. And that increased us up to the next level. Excellent. Which would have happened naturally anyways. So we're going to let it play a little bit. Let's see what happens with the domestic issues, guys. And build up our army a bit as well. Get our men-at-arms built up. Maybe spend a little bit of money on building in our capital too. We'll see what we got there. We currently have mansions, the manor house. We got pastures and wooden barracks right now. Yeah, this isn't bad options here initially. I'm okay with that. So I might want to build further there as well, so that'd be an option with our money. So these are the events that you get in your court. You'll just get a little number notifying you that it's there, and if you don't do anything with it, if you don't handle the situation, there's like a default option that it will go with. So you don't have to interact with these if you don't want to, and nothing happens with them if you don't go take a look at them. You just go with the default one, which is the last option, and you got 6 months to react to it. We'll see who this involves. Okay, just 2 people in our court here. Nobody important. I pause for a moment on the threshold of the quarter, admiring the sunlight, when I overhear derisive laughter coming from just around the corner. Okay, so I know what these events we'll see often. It's just basically people, they're kind of criticizing your amenities here. And you'll see these every once in a while. They're all the same for the most part. It's just them complaining, and it gives you a chance to change this up. So I'm not sure that there's any benefit of doing it this way outside of the opinion bonuses. And you know what? You might actually get more court grandeur that you wouldn't have gotten if you did it that way. So it might be the better way to do it if you're planning on changing it anyways. So yeah, they're griping about our lodging standards and our court servants. I can see increasing those. We're kind of short on money. Yeah, I can see doing that, I suppose. You can also get rid of them. Just kick them out of your court. That'd be an option as well. Or you can say worldly distractions only separate us from heaven, in which case we'll get piety. And we're going to get an opinion boost with our archbishop here. They'll get a small decrease in opinion. But it's not too bad. Or you can just act like you didn't hear anything at all. Because we're wrathful, though, doing some of these options is going to cause us quite a bit of stress. Yeah, any option that basically complies with their griping, because we would get angry about this. So that would increase our stress by a little bit. Yeah, I can see doing it this way, even with the stress gain. Let's just take a look, see which option we want to do. Because I can see increasing both of these up to level 3. I think the best one for us would probably be the servant one, maybe. Yeah, I think we're going to do that one. So yeah, we'll go ahead and change over to that. We don't want to actually set that though, my bad. Hopefully it stayed. Yeah, we don't want to change it that way. We want to do it through here. So yeah, we can go ahead and change over the servants one. Again, it's going to cause us some stress due to us being wrathful. And then increased our level up to 4 now, which I want to say level 4 is when you get one of your new bonuses unlocked. Yeah, that's the tyranny gain one. All right, awesome. And our baseline's 42, so that'll get us up to level 50 slowly, or excuse me, level 5 very slowly. Because yeah, that doesn't increase at a fast rate there. We already have pretty high stress now, guys. So our next little batch of money we might want to use for something that will reduce our stress. One of the things we haven't really talked about is the languages. Languages are kind of important here. You can see that with your character. If they know more than one language, they'll have this little lip icon here. If they only know one language, then I don't think you see it on your character screen. But yeah, it does show how many characters you're allowed to learn. We have a foreign language limit, 1 out of 3. So that doesn't count your native language. And so the one we know is German, High German, which of course is the language of our court. So we do have an available legacy to get. I think we're going to go ahead and do that. Another thing we could do here, and this is because of our diligent trait, is we can develop the capital. And if you do this, it causes a ton of stress. So you really only want to do this if you don't have any stress. Otherwise, you're going to go into the critical. But doing this does increase the development pretty quickly. That's a really good bonus there. So you can get development going up at a very nice rate. If you do that, it might be something we want to do in the future. For right now, though, we do need a court position. And I'd like to either hold a feast or a hunt to try and reduce our stress. I think a hunt would fit our character a little bit more. It's also a little bit cheaper. So I think we'll do a hunt here to try and get rid of some of the stress. Now, another thing that's been changed in the game since we last play is the winter and the effects of the winter. That's all been adjusted in one of the patches. And I did forget about our legacy that's available here. So let's go and get something. I think they have a new branch here, the customs. And this really does seem to have a lot to do with the language, at least initially. It allows you to learn the languages quicker. Also helps with the cultural acceptance. But yeah, we're not going to do that one. We might do this one, House of Warriors. We're Poland, and Poland is, smack dab in the middle of Central Europe, and doesn't have very good defensible terrain. And as we know from history, they get attacked a lot. So it would be good, I think, to have characters that are just automatically going to do better. You got higher knight effectiveness, so that's going to apply to all your knights, and the prowess is going to help you in duels and stuff. I think that will be what we're going to go with here. Alright, excellent. If we keep going down this, then we'll get pursuit efficiency increased and retreat losses decreased, and Casus Belli will be cheaper. So this is the new inventory screen. Looks pretty nice. You can put your crown in here, your weapon, your armor, all that kind of good stuff, trinkets and stuff. Obviously right now we don't have anything just yet. So you can still do this the way that you could do it before through like the decisions, where you would commission an artifact here. We can't do that without having somebody in that position though. So we would have to appoint somebody into that position, which would be down here. So we could do that through that way to get different items, for both our Royal Court and for our inventory. The other way that you'll be able to do it is you'll have guests that will come and they'll have inspirations. And often these characters are really good. So they'll have this little sentence here that says they're very competent at their craft. And not always. Sometimes they're just average. But most of the times it seems that these inspired ones are very competent, thus you're going to get a pretty good item out of them. But with this one, you don't get to pick what they're going to make for you. They're inspired to do something very specifically. So in her case, she wants to make some armor. And I'd actually be very okay with that. So to do that, we just click on Sponsor Inspiration, see what the cost is going to be, 66 opinion. You get a nice little opinion boost as well. And yeah, we're going to go and do it. And you can see what the progress is here. Said, "You will not regret supporting me, my lord." And we can tell her what type of armor we want. So we can say, "I want a flexible chainmail, not very flashy, but dependable." And this would still cost, I think it all costs the same amount. Yeah, it's not going to change the cost at all. We can say, "A dependable scale armor is what I need. Offers good protection, but is a little less flexible than some alternatives." And then our last option here, make laminar armor. Laminar armor is like, kind of overlaps horizontally. It's not something you really saw much in Europe. The Romans used it. I think there were a few examples in Europe, but I think this was more like a type of armor you'd see in Asia. I think the Polish might have used it. Again, they're kind of more eastern part of Europe here, but yeah, I think it's mostly like an Asian style, like the samurai wore that, the Mongolians wore it. So yeah, this would be a sturdy and reliable armor. Okay. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't made any armor yet in this expansion yet, so I'm not sure which one would be better for us. I mean, we're a king, so we might want something kind of flashy. This is less flexible. Just based on the descriptions, I almost want to go with this, and why not? Yeah, let's do this one. Again, it wasn't something you typically saw in Europe, but yeah, I think this will work. I'm curious to see what it will look like. I guess that's really why I want to click on it, because I want to see what it's going to end up looking like. So yeah, let's go with that one, because now I'm really curious exactly how that armor is going to be designed. So we'll have to wait and see once she gets it done, which we are able to look at her progress at any time, either by clicking on the Royal Court, or they'll have it down here. This will fill up as she completes it. There could be events tied to it, as there were before with items you're creating. We did finish the Finding Secrets task, and his steward has a secret here, which we can blackmail him on. All right, that's what we need. He's a witch. That's the kind of stuff we need, guys, so that we can try and assassinate him. Because we're gonna have to have some agents. Because there's just no way we're gonna get this done without agents with our 11% there. And I don't know if the possible agents included, those that you might have been able to bribe. But yeah, we're just gonna let this play for a little while, guys. Just kind of get ready for the domestic issue that I expect to have happen here. Again, maybe it doesn't. Maybe we don't have any factions rise up. Alright, so this is one of those events tied to that armor inspiration here. She says, "My lord, I mean no disrespect, but this forge of yours. Let's just say that if you want the Laminar armor to be at all serviceable, you're going to have to invest in a new one." Of course she's going to need more money. We can say no, but if we say yes, then it will be of a higher quality, which is exactly what we want to do. And we also get this new forge bonus here, which is going to decrease the maintenance cost for our army and increase the garrison size. That's for 5 years. So yeah, let's go and do that. That's a nice benefit there. Maybe the item will be a bit better than it would have been. See if there's anything in here we need to be aware of. We do need to hire a physician. We don't have any money for that right now, though. We're a nice, young, strapping lad, so I don't think we'll have any illnesses or issues, but if we go to war here, we could end up getting injured. Alright, inspiration, highest quality. My lord, look at that metal. I've never seen such a fine quality before. So my beneficiary, Christina, breaks away from our market procession to accost the merchant selling the coveted item, ecstatic over her find. With this, my project would reach new heights. I could create something truly marvelous. Please, my king, bestow this gift upon me. So we're actually getting a lot of events tied to this, so we might have a very high-level item here. We don't actually have any money for this. It's a good thing we're not at war right now, because this is costing us quite a bit. So we can say your project is worth investing in, and we'd actually lose stress doing this because we're generous. We like giving her money. So that's another reason to do this. We could say, of course, but surely we can get a fair price. Probably not going to work out for us here because we don't have high enough diplomacy, which our diplomacy is about average. Yeah. So only a 42% chance that it'll work. We could save a lot of money. But if we fail, then we lose some of our prestige, which we don't have a lot of. So probably won't go with that. It's too low of a chance. We can say absolutely guards seize what Christina needs. This would be an act of tyranny. We gain, or we actually lose stress because we're wrathful. This could do that as well to get rid of some stress, but we don't want to get any tyranny. So yeah, we're just going to say project is worth investing in. Something our generous character, I think, would like doing. Alright, so we're broke. We're actually in debt now, getting all the penalties that brings. And looks like we might not have any more tasks, or any more secrets for this task. We'll have them do it one more time. I always like doing it a second time after they fell, because sometimes there is another secret. And I don't think one agent, even one in the court, or in the council, I mean, is going to be enough. We're getting a lot of events tied to this inspiration. I typically only get one or two. That's the third one here. So these are concerning two of our vassals, including the most powerful vassal, the guy who we do expect to have issues with because he has so many desires. He desires quite a few titles there. And they're the most powerful vassals of my realm. I never know how to keep them happy so they don't go around stirring up trouble. Very true. Perhaps flattery is the way to go. Anyone would be pleased to have something made in their name, wouldn't they? Oh, okay, so this is the one where you can put like their name on it. Okay, so I've seen this event before, but yeah, we could say, I have just the right thing in the making. Let my beneficiary Christina know that I'm dedicating her masterpiece to my trustworthy vassals and advisors. Then again, it is my artifact, so maybe I should just. So if we dedicate it to them, then they'll be very grateful. We get some huge opinion boost for how long? Oh, okay, it'll just start ticking down. 1.20 per year. So it's going to last about 40 years or so. You get at least some opinion boost. But it'll slowly start declining. I don't know if that's going to help with him very much. It'll make him like us a lot, though. He's also our spy master, so he's the type of guy you'd want to get to like you. I did forget to get our personal scheme going, so we need to do that. We should be increasing opinion with somebody. So we'll do that here in a minute. So we could do that. We could instead say, after all, why not to myself? And then we'll get some prestige. Or you say dedications are overrated anyways, and we'll get some piety. Which I do want to get that progress up for the war. So we can use the Holy Wars. So I mean, all these would be pretty good. I don't think we're going to dedicate it to them, though. I expect he's going to be an enemy, so we're not putting his name on our item. So I think we're going to go with this one. Dedications are overrated anyway to get that beautiful piety. So we're not doing any of our personal schemes here. We should have been doing that. So let's go ahead and see who needs to be boosted the most. We could improve him so that we'll get a bit more money from him and also not have to worry too much about getting any penalties if we get some negative trade or something. We want to make sure we're keeping his money coming to us. As of right now, it's 0.5. We can get up to 0.9. So I think he's probably the one we should work on first. So let's go ahead and try swamming him just a bit. Just get boosted up a little bit. We should have already had that going. Inspiration realized, so she has finished. My lord, my beneficiary Christina waves me over with a wide grin, gesturing towards a covered armor stand. I have toiled over the forge many days and nights, but finally, my work is done. With a flourish, she rips the fabric covering away, and my eyes grow wide. The armor is constructed from horizontally overlapping iron bands that are excellently laced together with cords of wool, while the trim and lining are cut from fine silk. The set includes a Kulakkud helmet and an Avantel. Not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but that's the helmets that the Persians wore. So pretty cool looking helmets, but again, very Asian style of armor here. But I think it's fine for Poland here. But yeah, if we wanted to go more accurate, we would have picked one of the other types of armor. But yeah, I want to see what it looks like. Although I don't know that it actually impacts, because that just looks like some chainmail, honestly. So yeah, it might not impact the way it looks at all. But basically, it's fantastic. It's a famed armor. This is pretty darn good. I don't know if that's the highest level. But yeah, it's a pretty high level armor. Not surprising given all the events we had tied to it and the amount of money we pumped into it. But here's the bonuses. We're getting a +7 prowess. We're going to get increased of prestige every month and less retreat losses. Yeah, this is a fantastic armor, guys. So let's go ahead and make sure we're wearing it. So yeah, we want to put that on. And our prowess is now 25. So we're an awesome fighter. Excellent fighter. Unfortunately, still have not yet had any children. We're 2 years into the game here. And no children just yet. I mean, I know we've been busy, but we need to get busy. Because, I mean, we got a long time to go. I'm not too worried about it, obviously. But you never know when your character's going to die, especially like if we go to war or something like that. And we're going to obviously lead our troops, why would we not, with this excellent martial skill here. And there we go. So I was talking about it, and he actually complied. He saw that we were concerned about it, and so he went to his wife's bedroom, and she is pregnant. Excellent. It's about 7 months here, and we'll see if we have a son or daughter. You know what? I think what we're going to do here, to leave it open for name suggestions, because we're not going to often be able to allow for name suggestions from you guys, or at least not right before we have a child. So I think we might end here right before we have the kid. Oh, what's this? Okay, so this is from the mission that we have here. He was successful in finding another secret. Looks like she's just a member of his court. She's not even married or anything, but she is his lover. So we might be able to blackmail her using that to get another agent. And 2 agents might be enough. I don't know. We'll have to see, guys. We also have the hook on him now as well. Or not the hook, but the secret on him, which we could use to get a hook. Yeah, I think we're pretty close to being ready to try and assassinate him. I am worried about him getting married and having children. And so the sooner we can do this, the better. So that might be something we want to do at the opening of the next episode. Again, we're going to give this a couple months here, and then we're going to be ending it. I believe he might have just gone to war. Yep, he's trying to take over those counties. Okay. So yeah, he's going to be a problem. We already know that. But yeah, I think we're about ready for our own conflict. We haven't had any money for time, so we have to build up our treasury. I wish we had gotten more men-at-arms together than we actually have. Yeah, we could definitely use more men-at-arms. So we'll get into November here. And then we'll pause it. Just take a look at what we'd be facing. He doesn't have any allies if we fought Ruthenia. Again, I don't know if we'd get support from his family members since they're our allies. He's got around the same number of troops as we do, but only the 500 of the heavy infantry here. So we might want to do is get the skirmishers. I believe skirmishers are the ones who counter the heavy infantry, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we could get like some light footmen to go against his heavy infantry to counter those. That's if we were to go that route. We could also just wait until we get our piety up, which is almost there, and then attack north using those holy wars. So I'd love to know your guys' opinion on that. Which war do you think we should do next? Should we declare war on him? Which if we were to just take a look here. Yeah, I guess we'd do one of these two. Probably that one. I think that one looks better on the map. You might want to base it more off of how much they're worth, though. Might be the better option to go. We do have the two allies here, and I believe they probably would support us in that war. And so with their assistance, conflict should be pretty easy. We'd have double his numbers. He does have the money, though. We'd have to build up the treasury a bit, or else we'll find ourselves in debt before we could even do this war. But that would be one option. You can also like attack into Prussia here, or Pomerania, once we get a high enough bonus here. So yeah, his numbers, they're a lot less. This would be a nice easy conflict, which might be better for early conflict, simply because we haven't really fixed these domestic issues yet, have we? But yeah, you can provide a suggestion in that regard, which country we should attack next episode. And also, what should we name our son or daughter? Obviously, we don't know what the gender is going to be, so you'd want to provide a name suggestion for both possibilities, a girl or a boy. And we can do historical Polish names. If he's a boy, he would be our firstborn son, so we could just name him after ourselves, and then we'd have a Bolesław III. Just let me know down in the comments below what your name suggestions are. So unfortunately, we do have to end the episode here. We only got about 3 years, which wasn't very long, but there was a lot of stuff to discuss, all the new mechanics, and taking a look at our starting position here, and talking a little bit about the history as well. Again, we're going to try and make sure that he doesn't become an exiled king, losing all his lands, as he did historically, being replaced by his brother, which hopefully we should be able to take out here soon. Which, if we wanted to take a look at the murder scheme, still sitting at 11%, but that's because we haven't blackmailed those potential agents just yet. So as of right now, it's just secrets. But yeah, we know we would have at least 2 agents there, and so I think that might be enough to increase it up to, I don't know, 40-50%, but we might need a third agent, I think, in order to make sure that is a success. And then we can also change up our Spy Master to doing the support schemes, and that'll give us a nice little bonus as well. But I hope you guys did enjoy this first episode as Poland and the Piast Dynasty. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. And if you're looking for anything to watch, check out the front page of our channel. We do have 3,000 something videos, all sorted by genre, including 2 CK3 series. We played as William the Bastard, or William the Conqueror, here in England and Normandy for our first series, and then we played as a lowly count here in the Byzantine Empire, rising all the way up to Emperor in our second series. And then we kind of took a long break from CK3, and haven't played in a year. So when I started that Croatia series with the DLC, it was the first time I played in almost a year. So it's been a long time since we played CK3. Been focusing more on Hearts of Iron 4, which, if you do like Hoi 4 content, that's mainly what I play when it comes to Paradox games. We've got like 40, I think, somewhere around there, 40 Hearts of Iron 4 campaigns. Those are all sorted by genre, by the way, with a section for strategy games, and then also a section just for Hearts of Iron 4 content. And we do play a wide variety of genres outside of the strategy series, so we should be able to find something to watch as you wait for the next episode. If you're looking for any links, check out the description of any of our videos. We found links to our PayPal, Patreon, and Teespring store if you'd like to help support the channel. You also find a link to our Discord if you'd like to join our community. And finally, you'll find links to all of our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, if you'd like to follow us on there. So I do hope to see you guys on the next episode, which will be on Tuesday, which is the same day that the DLC releases. Once you start playing, you'll have to let me know how you feel about it, how you're liking it. So far, I'm liking it quite a bit. Definitely feels like it adds a lot to the game. I'm liking pretty much everything so far. There's been a few complaints I have that we'll discuss as we as we play this series, but overall, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. You have to let me know your opinion. But yeah, I do hope to see you guys on that next episode, and thanks for watching.